Hey guys, it's Wrestling Dork here, and welcome to a video where I talk about my reactions to WrestleMania Night 2. So now I know it's been a while after WrestleMania, it's already been like 4 or 5 days after this is uploaded, but I was busy, and also WrestleMania Night 2 was a lot, and I just wanted to get the video out of me talking about Cody finishing his story, but I didn't talk about the rest of the night. So let's talk about the rest of Night 2 of WrestleMania and my review on it. Alright, so the first match, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship, the opener. And this might be one of the best openers to WrestleMania ever. This is how you open up a WrestleMania. I thought Night 1's opener was pretty good. This one was probably one of the best WrestleMania openers of all time, if you count Night 2 opener as the opener of WrestleMania. First off, their entrances, both were pretty great. Drew McIntyre, I think, had like the bagpipes, people playing bagpipes. Very good entrance. And I loved Seth Rollins' entrance. I'm not gonna lie, most underrated entrance of the night. I love his goofy costume. Some people just hate him. I love him. I love his costumes. I love his outfits. And this one was probably my favorite. The hat, I think it was like an owl like coat. It looked amazing. It looked great. Some awesome gear. And they had like huge, like bunch of Mardi Gras people. So he had like 50 people following him. It looked like No Way Jose or like Adam Rose's old entrance with like the rosebuds. It looked great. It was an awesome entrance. And then the match started. Drew just hit a Claymore right away. Just out of the gate. Kick out. They fought on the outside and Drew did something so funny. Drew went to, I think it was his wife or his girlfriend or something, and he grabbed the phone and he started just typing on it and then put it back. I didn't know what he did until after the match, and I found out what he did after the match. He tweeted, "Bored at work, LOL." He tweeted in the middle of a match. That is insane. Yeah, I feel like the match was a lot of finishers. A lot of finisher spam. I'm just saying, CM Punk was somewhat involved, I guess, on commentary. I loved his commentary, but he wasn't involved too much in the normal match itself. But since Seth Rollins was just basically beat up terribly, Drew McIntyre basically got the win, easy win, and was the new World Heavyweight Champion after, I think, spamming at least 3 or 4 Claymores. Drew McIntyre won the title and then stood by CM Punk and like crawled over to him and just started talking mad trash to him for a minute. And while holding the title, CM Punk had enough. He started beating him up. He grabbed his cast, beat him over the head with it. And then out comes Damian Priest to cash in. Finally, he isn't dead. He actually cashed in for once. After like not doing it for Seth Rollins, even though he's been beat up 50,000 times. Finally does it, cashes in, hits Drew McIntyre over the head with a briefcase, and he hits his finisher. 1, 2, 3. Damian Priest is the new world champion for Drew McIntyre. That is a great way, though, to build a feud between Punk and McIntyre. That's an amazing way to build it. And on Raw after, CM Punk screwed him again. So it's a good way to build the WrestleMania, and it's a good way for Damian Priest to finally cash in and get his championship. And it was perfect amount of chaos and a perfect opener for WrestleMania. I thought it was a fantastic way to open WrestleMania. Alrighty, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford versus the Final Testament in a Philadelphia street fight. Now this match, I had very low expectations for. I'm like, I don't care at all. I'm just kidding. I cared a little bit, but I didn't care too much. As long as it was just chaotic, it would be good. But then they just randomly announced that the special guest commentator was Snoop Dogg. I'm like, okay, this made this match a little bit more fun. And then they announced the special guest referee to be Bubba Ray Dudley. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a lot more fun. So the match itself was actually pretty fun. I thought it was a pretty good match. I thought it was like they definitely made the best out of a situation where not many people cared. And I thought it was pretty great. I love chaotic wrestling. That's what I love. And it was pretty chaotic. And Montez Ford like did some flippy stuff. You know, Dave Meltzer would probably like that. They're just beating each other up with a lot of kendo sticks. Those poor kendo sticks. And then I think Karrion Kross was shoving Bubba because he didn't count fast enough. And Bubba put on his glasses. The pop was insane for the glasses. And then the Pride, or Bobby Lashley and Dawkins and Montez Ford, they held Karrion Kross's legs apart and they did the waza. They did the waza while Bubba Ray watched. And then they had Montez Ford frog splash Karrion Kross to the table for the win. So it was actually a very fun match. Like, I thought it was pretty fun. I had a good time, and I had a good time listening to Snoop Dogg's commentary. think he said something about a picnic basket because he was talking about, like, are they picnic tables? Was it like Yogi Bear? I love that match. I honestly thought it was pretty great. It was a pretty good match. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I don't know how to feel about this match. I mean, it was like, honestly, a little bit forgettable. We'll say it was like decent. Decent's the right word. Decent. It was decent. Wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was decent. It was okay. LA Knight came out, normal entrance, and then AJ Styles came out with a new theme song. It's sung by the same guys that do Solos and the Street Profits heel one. I could tell because I know that voice. It's definitely the same guy. But, I mean, it sounded okay. But it sounded like Solos, and basically every time that guy sings a song, it sounds like the exact same song he did before. But then they just started attacking each other before the bell rang, I think, and then they just started brawling. And they just had a normal, like, match you'd probably have on SmackDown, honestly. Kind of like a normal match, even though they had this cool hype to it, like this cool build-up. Like, it should have been like a stipulation match. Like, if it was a stipulation match, I think it would have been much better, but it was a pretty decent match. All right, Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. The thing is, rating this match is so difficult, but I have one word to describe this match. It's fun. It's a fun match. I can't say if it's good or if it's bad. It's just a fun match. It was just a fun time. Like, I just had a good time watching it. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton were teaming up at the beginning, and they rode in golf carts to the ring. And then also Logan Paul came in with this big prime cannon or something. Cannon car. Looked pretty cool. And then Kevin Owens, Randy Orton get to the ring with the golf cart, and they just team up and beat up Logan Paul. And then they finally turn and beat each other up. And I think later in the match, Randy Orton's going for his punt kick. I'm like, oh, they're bringing that back. And then he doesn't do it because I forgot to mention, a Prime bottle came with Logan Paul to the ring. And remember last year it was KSI. I'm like, somebody's in that freaking Prime bottle. I had no idea who it was. And the Prime bottle pulled Logan Paul out of the ring before Randy Orton can punt him. And it's none other than I Show Speed. Seeing I Show Speed in wrestling is the most interesting thing I've ever seen in my life. That's like the biggest crossover ever. I never thought I Show Speed, a streamer that like barks and like does random stuff like that, would be at WrestleMania. It was pretty crazy. I was actually laughing. And then Randy Orton comes over, and then Speed pushes him, and then Randy Orton just kicks him. The way he kicked him was so funny. He flew back. And then put him up on the table. He's all angry. He's about to RKO him on the table. And then Speed's like, no, Ronaldo better. I'm like, oh my God. Why is that going to help you not get RKO'd? And then Randy Orton barked at him before he RKO'd him. That was amazing. And then I think Michael Cole said the dog died. That was pretty great. Speed was just dead. And then I think, I don't even remember how the match ended. I know Logan Paul retained, but I don't remember how he retained. I think, oh yeah, he hit a frog splash on Kevin Owens, I think, after Randy Orton hit an RKO on him. Pretty sure. Or he used brass knuckles. I don't know, but all I know is it ended with a frog splash and Logan Paul retaining the title. And yeah, it was a fun match. I think it was good. Io Sky versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, this match actually was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was actually a really good match. I thought it was better than Rhea and Becky, I'm not going to lie. It was a really good women's match. There's a bunch of things I remember in the match. Io Sky, the coolest thing was Io Sky countered the Rose Plant and did like a flip. It was really cool. Bayley finally hits the Rose Plant. 1, 2, 3. Bayley's the new women's champion, and she definitely deserves it. And also, I forgot to mention the entrances. I always forget to forget the entrances. I don't know why. But I think Bayley came out with like Egyptian, like people carrying her, and then like Egyptian gear. And she also had a new theme. That theme was, I think, better than her old one, honestly. The match itself was really good, and Bayley coming up top was a great moment for her and her to finally win that women's championship. And that was a very good match. I liked it. All right, so I went over this match, the main event, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, in my last video, but I'm actually going to talk about how I feel about the main event and what I think. And this might be controversial, but I say that this is the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time. I'm saying it is the greatest. It was incredible, and the returns were amazing, and I liked how it started with a normal wrestling match. Like, it started normal, and then right as he was about to win, Jimmy came in, and then Jay came in to beat him up. Right as he was about to win again, Solo comes out, and John Cena stops Solo, puts him through the table, and then The Rock comes out and they have a stare down. I'm basically going really quick. And then I forgot to mention that Seth Rollins comes out as like the Shield music. I forgot to mention that in the last one. And he comes out with the Shield music with a chair and in his Shield gear, gonna hit Rock with the chair, and then Superman punches him because he saw that he was gonna hit The Rock. And it was funny because I was really confused. I'm like, is it Dean Ambrose? I thought Dean Ambrose was gonna come out, but no, it's just Seth. And then after that, the Undertaker gong hits, and I love to rewatch that clip of the gong hitting and just the crowd. I think that was the loudest crowd reaction, and well, probably under Cody winning the match, that got the loudest reaction. But Undertaker, that was like the second loudest reaction. That was amazing. That gong hit, everybody went nuts. Basically, if you're in an arena and you hear the gong hit, you're going nuts. And he choke slams The Rock, and then Cody finally finishes the story. 1, 2, 3, new champ. We have people celebrating with him, and it ends on top. For my opinion of the match, I've already said it's the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time. But in match purposes, I think it is literally my favorite match of all time. I'm going to remember this forever as my favorite match I've ever watched in my life. Like, ever. This is going to be my favorite match I've ever watched. I'm going to look back, fond memories of this match. I don't think I've ever been emotional at the end. Like, I've never cried before watching a match. First time there. I don't cry often, but I guess wrestling could get me to cry. And I had so many high emotions. I probably woke up everybody in my house because I was screaming about so many people. So it is my favorite match of all time and the greatest WrestleMania main event, in my opinion. All right, so for the review of Night 2, I think that Night 2 is the greatest pay-per-view they've put on. Well, I think ever, honestly. Like, not ever. It's very controversial. It might be recent bias. But I think, for me personally, I haven't seen many pay-per-views. But of all the pay-per-views I've seen, this is the greatest one I've ever seen. Night 1 was pretty good, but then Night 2 really stepped it up and made it absolutely incredible. So for WrestleMania 40 in general, it's got to be in the top 3, right? Like, top 3 greatest WrestleManias of all time. Top 5. For some people, I agree. Like, there's WrestleManias they probably think are better, but it depends what you grow up with. And I am always probably going to say that WrestleMania 40 is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I have no idea how they can top that. No way. I thought about Survivor Series. I'm like, no way they could top Survivor Series, right? Well, they can. There's always a way to top things, but I didn't believe it, and they did. And WrestleMania 40 is probably my favorite WrestleMania of all time. Not probably, my favorite WrestleMania of all time. So yeah, that's what I thought about WrestleMania, and wow, what a great show. And I'm so excited to keep watching, Raw and SmackDown to see what's going on. And yeah, I can't wait to see what the WWE does next.